Hello, friends and family. I am here to give you some advice on what to tell people when they ask you what's going on. Guess what? I'm going through an awakening, and your family's probably like, congrats, we think you're crazy. So I wanted to finally create a video that maybe you could share with friends and family members to explain to them what exactly is going on. I've been going through this myself for probably maybe 6 years or so. I think that's when it initially started, but I've really been deep in the thick of it for probably the past 3 years. So this is what to tell friends and family members when you are awakening, and just let them know. I might start randomly hugging trees. I might talk about being barefoot in the backyard. You might ask yourself why, and it's because I am grounding myself. I am connecting to the earth, Gaia, whatever you want to call it, and they'll be like, what's going on with that? Well, when you are barefoot and you're walking in the grass, the frequency of the earth is the same frequency as your heartbeat. That's why when people feel frustrated, they go out in nature, they go ground themselves, because it recalibrates your system energetically. So tell them you might start hugging trees, you might start walking around barefoot. And another thing is that I did speak to my own friends and family members about what are some of the things that they noticed with me. And that was kind of counterproductive, because a lot of them thought, we kind of think that you went crazy with things, but we do notice that you are a lot more calm. We do notice that you don't get triggered. We also notice that we might not understand everything that you do and the things that you talk about, but you do seem more calm. So I want you to be assured that whomever you are dealing with that is awakening, they do recalibrate. They do go back to normal. They may not be the same person, but for the most part, a lot of them will still be there. It'll just be a little bit different. So one of the biggest things when you start to awaken is you talk about conspiracies. Okay, I could go on and on. I've got thousands of conspiracies, but chemtrails, you'll hear them talking about adrenochrome, reptilian government, things like that. You'll hear about fluoride being in the water, how fluoride is a neurotoxin, how the government wants to keep us manipulated by putting fluoride in the water, which Hitler used to do to make the people more easily manipulated, more malleable, I guess, in a sense. So you'll hear your loved one talking about conspiracies. 5G, don't even get me started. Let's see, what else? Bill Gates, the elites. You might hear them say, I'm decalcifying my pineal gland. What does that mean? A lot of the toxins from vaccines, from heavy metals, from fluoride in the water, that calcifies your pineal gland. That is your all-seeing eye, your connection to God, to source. So when people start to eat better, when they start to decalcify their pineal gland, what happens is that you get more in tune with yourself. You get your own answers. You don't need people to make decisions for you. You end up tuning into God or source within, and you have your own answers. So when you start to wake up, you start talking about conspiracies. This is kind of the early phase of it, and what is reassuring is that with your loved ones, I'd say most of us, we go back to a place where we're not obsessed with conspiracies, because we understand that a lot of things are going on, but again, with duality, with free choice, those things are going to happen. And in the beginning, people start to get angry, they get frustrated, they find out what's going on, what their government's doing to them, but trust that they will eventually, probably, maybe not. Some people do get pretty, fierce about protecting things that they believe in, and that's okay, that's their choice. But a lot of people, they get really deep into conspiracies, and then they kind of pull away because they understand that things are going to happen, and they just make the best choices for themselves, and that's all you can do. So you might hear them talking about Bill Gates, vaccines, all of that. So the next thing is emotion. So if your loved one is going through a spiritual awakening, the beginning, it's a lot of crying, it's a lot of ugly snot bubbles, it's a lot of trauma coming up. So what people need to understand is that birth to age 7, that's when a lot of your subconscious is programmed. So if you had a lot of trauma, and even after that, you can have a lot of traumatic events, That trauma, if you have a memory of it, if it still triggers things within you, that energy is stored on your body. So when you go through a spiritual awakening, you will find that your loved one is having some crazy emotions that are all over the place. What's happening is that the energy of their body wants to be at a higher frequency, but when you have trauma and bad memories, family fights, bad things that happen to you, maybe bad patterns that you've had in your life from the trauma, all of that is stored on your body. So when you start to awaken, your body wants to purge all of that. So you might start crying for no reason. You might think that your loved ones are absolutely losing it, but what they are doing is, by crying, you are energetically releasing things, and it might take years of crying. I know myself, I have always, tried to be this strong, independent, engineering Capricorn woman. I was very much in my masculine power, and I wasn't creative. I wasn't being feminine. I wasn't letting a guy take care of me, and I was creating situations where I was attracting the wrong guys that would mirror those things within me. So when you start to release those patterns, your emotions go all over the place, and then once they're released, though, you start attracting better not better, but because everybody you meet is there for your soul journey. So you will start to attract different people once you heal whatever is trapped within you. So you will see that your loved one is having emotions that are all over the place, but again, once they purge a lot of those patterns and a lot of that trauma, you will find that they reach homeostasis. That once you get to that point, you're kind of unfuckwithable. That is a word. I just made it up, but I've heard a lot of other people saying that. You become unfuckwithable in the sense that anybody could come at you with negativity, with drama, and when you are fully awakened, and again, I can't say that I am fully awakened. I've done a lot of self-work, but when you are more awakened, anybody can come at you and you won't feel triggered. And it takes all of the craziness and the crying and the emotions to get you to the point where you are that resilient. Because when you meet those people that are life coaches that do certain things, the people that have really done the inner work are the people that can take their clients very deeply because they've taken themselves that deeply. If you're trying to coach people and you have triggers about your mom or your dad, you have certain triggers, you can't take that person that deep because it's going to trigger something within you. So when you start to awaken and you really have done a lot of work, and you'll find that eventually you'll be able to not really fluster on your energy, like everything that's going on now. Not to say I'm perfect, but I'm not feeling frustrated. I'm not feeling confined. I'm not feeling freaked out about money because I'm at a place in my life where I'm understanding that there is a large plan, that there are things going on, and I'm not going to fight them. I'm going to make the best choices I can for my family and me and my 2 little boys, but ultimately I'm in a state of flow. So when people, learn to fully embrace who they are and let go of their fears, and again, when you live in fear, if you study the law of attraction, basically people cannot manifest in their lives because they live in fear. Jealousy, anger, trying to control someone, all of that, those are fear-based beliefs. If you're dating someone, you want to control them because you're fearful that they're going to leave. You're going to think that somebody else has something that I can't offer them. When you're confident, you don't worry about that stuff. You trust in the plan, and you know that the universe or God, whatever you believe in, is going to give you the right person for your growth and the right person for where you're at in your life. So again, you stop living in fear. You can quit an engineering job that was absolutely draining you, like I did, and say, you know what, I'm going to find a job with a heart-centered company, and I'm going to do life coaching. So you'll find that you can be fearless. You can quit the things that are draining you, because we're not here to be slaves. I'm not here to be a slave for a job. I'm not here to be a slave for an employer that I hate. What you'll find is that when you let go of those things and you step into your power, you can find a job making the money that you want without having to be at someone's beck and call. Yes, you might still need to be an employee, but you'll find somebody that's more in alignment with you the more work that you do. So that is how the emotions can affect things, and that you no longer get angry, you no longer get triggered. You might feel that come up, but it's very few and far between. And if anger ever does come up, which it's normal, it's not bad to feel angry. You can feel the anger, you can honor it, you can look at what's been triggering you to make you feel that anger, and then you can release it. Let's see. Physical changes. Again, I mentioned trauma, so I know when I meditate now, I will set the intention of releasing anything within me that is causing me to not live my most fulfilling life. So a lot of times when I'm in meditation, I'll just start crying. I'll just have a memory, something come up, I'll cry, and whatever energy center within you is blocked. If it's your power chakra, which is your belly, if you've been in a lot of situations where your parents never believed in you, if you had a lot of power taken from you, if you've been in any verbal or mentally, physically abusive relationships, that's your power chakra. So when you start to heal yourself, you'll start crying a lot and your belly will start moving. So you'll start releasing a lot of that trauma. So that's a good thing. And if your friend or family member is awakening, they might talk about DNA upgrades. They might talk about the Schumann resonance. Basically, that is energy, how it's coming into the planet. You can go on a few websites. Some people get very irritated or tired when the Schumann resonance is high, a lot of light codes coming in. But again, if your loved one is talking about this stuff, don't be worried. It's basically their body is upgrading, just like everybody else's, but some people just aren't aware of it. Your body is upgrading so that you can be a vessel that's more in the emotion of love, as opposed to anger and jealousy and all those other things. So you'll hear your loved one talking about DNA upgrades, and a lot of people, when they go through an awakening, they have flu-like symptoms. I know myself, I was doing a lot of work to open up my heart, and when I did that, sometimes in the middle of the night, I'd wake up, heart palpitations, sweating profusely, and a few weeks after that, I noticed I was a lot more heart-centered, and I'd be able to feel. The way that I used to live, I was always in my logical mind, so it felt really good to be able to start living in the heart space and start feeling more. It is actually a good feeling, but transitioning is a little bit difficult, going from the mind to the heart space. And again, going through an awakening, your ears might start ringing. That's constantly happening to me. For me, the left side is usually a little bit more in terms of like a no answer, and ringing in my right ear is something that is like a good sign. So for me, there was a situation where I was at my son's school, someone was in a car accident, and I always talk to my guardian angel, and I said, my God, I hope they're okay, and my right ear started ringing. That was kind of an indicator for me, say, okay, they're okay. So some people start getting a lot of psychic abilities. Again, it's not evil, it's not demonic, it is ancient knowledge. There are spirit guides around you. There are your ancestors around you. Everybody has a guardian angel. So when you start talking to your guardian angel and ask them for guidance, they can't interrupt free will. So if you ask your guardian angel, give me some guidance, let me know you're there. You might hear ringing in the ears, you might see a feather fall in front of you. Little things like that are indicators that they are close by. So another thing, goosebumps, I notice when I coach people, if I say something that the client needs to hear, or if they're asking about what should I do with this career path, or how do I let go of some drama with my sister, if I give them a message, or if they say something that resonates with what they need to do, I get goosebumps. Basically, that's a sign from God, Gaia, my spirit, that is a message that they needed to have. If I talk to someone and I get goosebumps, that's an indicator that is someone that I should keep in my life, at least for the near term, because they're meant to be on my path. Also, your loved one might start talking about numbers, synchronicities. You might think, what the hell is a synchronicity? Basically, what I see a synchronicity as, it is a wink from the universe, as in, yes, you're on the right path. For example, I was hanging out with someone, and we were in the car, and he said he wanted to get a turtle, and he wanted to name it Gnarly. And a car drove by us, and the license plate actually said Gnarly, G-N-A-R-L-Y. And I was like, wow, that is a synchronicity. We're supposed to be hanging out right now. We're supposed to be talking about this kind of stuff. So, and also numbers. You might see 1111. That's usually when you first start waking up. But I see that even now. It's a sign from God, your guardian angel, that they are there with you, giving you guidance. So numbers have a vibration, and that vibration has a message. So license plates, billboards, When you get a receipt at a grocery store, if it's $53.53, look up angel number 5353 because it usually has a message. So your loved one might start talking about that. And again, feel assured that even if somebody is really into all of this, it does calm down quite a bit. I remember when this first started happening, I was obsessed about it. I would talk about it all the time. I would tell everybody what number sequence I saw, but it gets a lot more relaxed. People don't get so obsessive to talk about it all the time. So let's see, family and friends. The biggest thing with awakening is that your friends and family, they think you're crazy, and you will probably end up losing a lot of your friends. And it's not because they stop hanging out with you. It's usually because you don't want to hang out with them. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them or there's anything wrong with you. It just means that you feel uncomfortable with the things that you used to talk about. I had the same group of friends for 24 years, and I loved them to pieces, and to this day I would do anything for them. But you just shift out of people's lives, and it's okay. And what's really cool is that sometimes those people come back into your life. Let's say they start waking up and they start asking you questions. When you go through a spiritual awakening, a lot of people leave your life. I'd say probably 95% of the people that I used to hang out with and used to talk with, I don't hang out with them or talk to them that much. And it is not saying anyone is better or worse. It is just that you change so dramatically that the things you used to talk about make you physically uncomfortable. I can't talk about the things. I used to talk about the Kardashians. I used to talk about all that other stuff. And now I physically feel sick when I try to talk about it because it doesn't interest me. I want to talk about remote viewing, astrally traveling, DNA activation, things like that that are intellectually stimulating for me. I want to feel things that are deep. And it just usually means that a lot of people shift out of your life. And what's cool is that if they are meant to be in your life, they're going to find you again. You're going to find them again. You're going to reconnect again with the synchronicity. If you're meant to be in someone's life, you're going to keep running into them. That's a sign from the universe that you guys should probably be in touch again. Or maybe there's something that is triggering you that needs to be healed. If you see that person and you're triggered, the universe might force you to recognize that and to heal it. So again, be aware that things like that happen. So again, if your family member or friend is awakening, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with them. It just means that they're going through some huge changes, and they will come back around, but they're probably not going to be the same person that they were. And that's something that my friend was able to tell me. He said I had to have a talk with my family and tell them that I'm not going to be the same person that I was. I'm not going to laugh at all the same things that I used to laugh about. I'm probably not going to say as many dirty jokes. Everybody changes in different ways. This is my own journey. I remember I used to, I did building inspections. I still do them, but I would make fun of things that right now absolutely break my heart to make fun of. And I changed. My heart changed. I became more heart-centered. And when you do that, a lot of things about you change. So again, it's normal when people go through an awakening. It might take years for them to awaken. I mean, they go through a lot of funky things. Again, emotional changes, physical changes, conspiracies, all that stuff that they get into. But rest assured, they might go a little bit crazy. They might go live in a tent for a year or two. Nothing wrong with that. Just let them go explore and let them be themselves. And I promise that they will come back around, because unconditional love means that once they get through their healing journey, they're probably going to come back around. And if you're a toxic person, then you might not be in their life forever, but a lot of times they do end up healing and they are able to have relationships, but it's just not the same that they used to be before they started the awakening. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you have an awesome night.